Hey guys, welcome back to the internet so soon again already. Today's question is, what was something you saw you were definitely not supposed to see? And it says serious replies only, so you know there's not going to be any kind of shenanigans going on in this thread. Most of this thread was just people talking about how they walked in on some people having sex or caught people cheating or whatever. So I weeded through most of that to get some that are at least a little bit more interesting to listen to. So years ago, a colleague had an old smartphone that he brought in to give to another coworker as theirs broke. The phone was sitting on the new owner's desk, but he hadn't yet tried it out, as it was still charging after months of not being used. We were talking about how cool it was with the coworker. Smartphones were not really widespread yet, and I picked it up to see how it felt in my hand. I pressed a button, and the first thing that I saw was a Google search for lump on anus. I quickly put the phone back down. This must have been the last thing he searched for when he last used it a long time ago and forgot about it. Yeah, be sure to clear your history anytime you're handing over an electronic device to somebody else. I found a suitcase full of dildos under my mom's bed when I was 8. Wow, a full suitcase full? Like, who needs that many dildos? So I was at a David Copperfield show. I was at an angle that allowed me to see the volunteers running out from the stage during a disappearing act. Wait, so you mean he doesn't actually teleport people? Wow, what a scam. Somebody else went to another magic show and said, I caught a ball he threw out to get an audience participant, and since apparently I was too young at the time, my mom went up. She was one of like 8 volunteers. He went down the line and gave them all envelopes. All of them were told to think of a number. He then instructed them to say the numbers they were thinking, and then opened the envelope which had a number written inside. Every single one was right. Couldn't freaking believe it. She said she had no idea how and acted amazed. I did some magic and knew how most of the tricks were done, or had a general sense of how they worked, but seeing one like this dumbfounded me. I figured when they did crap like that on TV it was all paid actors, but it was my mom, so it had to be real, and I for the life of me could not fathom it. 10 years later, that show got brought up and my mom says, oh yeah, no, he just told us all what number to say. Oh, what a disappointment. I mean, the whole concept of magicians is so strange to me. I mean, it's obvious that no one has, like, magical powers or anything. The whole point of being a magician is just being able to pull something off without anyone else knowing how exactly you did it. So whenever they say stuff like, a magician will never reveal their secrets, it's just because the secret is the whole point of it. I found invitations to my big surprise 18th birthday just lying on the floor a few weeks before the event. I had to act surprised when the time came to walk through the door to the party, which I did. The only thing is, my twin brother also knew, which I didn't know at the time, and let's just say his acting skills are really bad. So we both found out in different ways about the surprise party, but neither of us knew that we found out about it. So when I walked through the door for the surprise, I could tell from his reaction that he knew. You know, I don't know if I've actually been on either end of a surprise party, like, not that I can remember at least, not in the last 10 years. I borrowed my dad's camera. I found out he was gay. I love the simplicity of this comment. And he responds saying, I do not possess the necessary linguistic capabilities to properly elucidate the gravity of the experience. Well, he has the linguistic capabilities to properly elucidate that sentence, so that must have been pretty intense. Happened when I was 7. I found the Tom and Jerry DVD I had lost in the back of the drawer. In celebration, I decided to watch it again. By the time my mother walked into the living room and saw me watching a threesome, I was already scarred for life. She took away the entire DVD collection. So, did they tape over the DVD, or was it just in the wrong case? I saw the code to open all the doors in my primary school at the time. A lot of power to open any locked door for an 8-year-old. That's crazy that you'd put all the trust of the security to an entire school in the hands of one code. So I saw the salaries of everyone working at the company I was working at. It was a smaller, startup digital ad agency with about 60 employees total. And someone from HR was making copies of a document that listed everyone's salary. I'd left the original on the glass of the copier. I found it, I turned it back in, but not before I went through the list to see what everyone else made, and discovered that a couple new hires working the same position as me were making more than me. So after turning it in, I met with my manager and used my newfound knowledge to my advantage to successfully negotiate for a raise, along with a promise that I wouldn't divulge what I knew to anyone else in the company. I mean, that's kinda shady, but I mean, hey, score for you. Yeah, it sucks when you work somewhere for a long time and then you find out that like new employees who just joined are for whatever reason getting more privilege than you. One time I worked at a job for like 6 months and then they had just made like a big hire of like 3 new people, and then like literally a week or two later they had to come in and lay off a bunch of people. I got laid off, but one of the new guys didn't get laid off for whatever reason. Then the next day, it turned out that they got rid of one too many people and they tried to call me to give me my job back, but I had already moved on by then. I do conventions and corporate events for a living. I was once called into a room to fix a power cable. It was a meeting of worldwide well-known house paint manufacturers. It was a closed-door meeting and I had to be let in to do my job quickly. They didn't stop talking as I did my work. We've pulled all the units from production and recalled all units on the shelves. But the ones still in transit cannot be recalled. They might be caught when they reach the sales floor if their retailers are still watching the recall. But it will have been weeks since we issued it. The guy who then responds to that says that they can prove they did their diligence in court with the recall and any units sold to customers will be the retailer's fault. I never did get to hear what the recall was for, but they seemed pretty tense over it, legally speaking. So I doubt it was quality control. I felt like I had witnessed the mafia talking about a murder. Yeah, that is always weird when you overhear something that's completely irrelevant to you, but it sounds like kind of a big deal. So my third job I had at 17 was at a pizza place. I had 2 managers, one male and one female, and they were both married to other people. Well, I went to hand in my drawer at the end of one shift and walked into the office, and there they were just making out with some heavy petting. Their spouses found out, they left their families, and then those 2 managers got married to each other. As far as I know, they're still together. Well, that's one way to start a relationship. So on my way to work in the morning one day, and I'm on the train leaning up against the glass partition between 2 seats. The lady on the other side was doing the same, and as her mobile kept pinging with incoming messages, my attention was drawn to it, and because of the angle I could see the text exchange. To summarize, she offered services of scatological nature, and the person on the other end was complimenting her on how her crap didn't stink when she curled one out on his chest. I definitely should not have seen that. Man, do you ever just think you're a really strange person, and then you hear about people like this, and you're like, oh, I guess I'm not that strange. I saw a dude robbed a gas station. I was riding my bike in the back and saw him take off his mask and get in the car. We made eye contact. I turned my head and acted like I didn't see anything. Well, that was probably the safe thing to do, so you don't get taken as a hostage. So I work in a major hospital, and we service everyone from politicians to celebrities. It was most likely a well-known person, or possibly a person from a hot news report that the media was focused on. Even if it was only a sheet and you couldn't see the body, the ordinary people, the reporters, and the paparazzi try their best to take photos. We have caught people pretending to be patients. We prevent ordinary people trying to sneak a picture, which can easily be sold or leaked. No matter how famous, in life or death, a person is entitled to privacy, and it's the hospital's responsibility to heal them and always protect their rights. Yeah, the world of media can just get so shady. Well, that's all the stories that I pulled for today. I didn't really feel like going over all of the sex stories. But what about you guys in the comments? What's something that you saw that you shouldn't have seen? So just let me know, and I will talk to you guys later.